Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. The Grant. My name is Niels Tudor Winter, and I'm the creator, editor, and host of The Grant. The Grant is an independent podcast initiative with the ambition to dig into all corners of the EU R&D funding system on topics of interest for the full EU R&D funding community. First, if you are in Brussels Friday the 26th of September, you are invited to drop by Place du Luxembourg for the second The Grant Brussels meetup. We had the first one in June and it was fantastic. So I will be there from 5 o'clock. Come for a drink and a chat with me and other The Grant listeners. Go to thegrant.eu for more info. This episode is part of my consultancy corner category. There is a handful of LinkedIn contacts that I really appreciate for their SoMe capacities. All of them have a strong approach and talent for breaking through the feed with their unique posts. One of them is Marie Prutto. She's not only good at SoMe, she's also very funny. And then I have been running after her for a long time to get her back into the virtual podcast studio. She was one of my very first guests and I loved the energy. So recently she made a post with the headline "How to Fail a Proposal" with a hilarious angle on the phases you go through when writing a proposal. So I pushed and finally got her back into the grant for a talk about the conditions as a proposal writer and how to fail completely with your proposal. It is a double episode, and in the first half we talk about the conditions as a proposal writer. Please enjoy. The Grant. Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. Today I'm for the first time when I'm recording, I'm sitting in a bed, and that's because I don't have a table to sit at. So I do my best to keep the microphone at the exact same spot. That's just like it is. I'm in Brussels with work, and it's not supposed to get so chatty when I open the episode, but we have an apartment in the organization, and we live 3 people here now in the apartment, so it's a little bit of a like a summer camp. No. Anyways, I cannot block the rooms there, so I sit in my bedroom. That was a very, very long intro. No. My dear listeners, welcome to The Grant. Today I have a guest. Today we will have a conversation about the nature of preparing proposals, and it's the nature of the mind, what happens there, the different emotional phases you go through, and that's because I picked up a LinkedIn post from one of my favorite LinkedIn connections, and finally, Marie, I come to you. Welcome,
everybody.
welcome back. And you were one of my first guests in this
Sure.
podcast, and thank you so much for that, because I still appreciate immensely the first people that stepped in to this virtual room. And I've been looking so much forward to having you back, and it took almost 3 years.
I was going to say you exaggerate, but no, that's true. 3 years since I first participated.
I'm a very stubborn person. I'm a very stubborn podcaster.
That's great.
So it's so nice to have you back,
I'm
Marie.
very happy to be back.
Before we do anything else, give a short introduction to yourself.
Okay, so thank you very much, Niels, for having me back. I'm very happy. So I am Marie Prutto. I am a freelance consultant supporting universities and researchers across Europe in developing EU funds in Erasmus Plus, in Horizon Europe mainly. I've been doing the job for the past 15 years now. I remember I first started in Brussels in a European association, lobbying association. It was my first aim. At first was to find a job at the European Parliament. It was not to work in EU funds. I was more in the policy area, with my master. I had a European policy master. But then I ended up doing my internship on European projects managing European projects at the European Association. And then, so that's how I ended up working at CNRS, the French National Center, for 5 years. And then after 5 years in the public sector, I decided to go into the private sector in a consulting company where I carried on my career in EU funds and supporting you in submitting successful proposals. So, and now I have my own company since now 2 years. No, 3 years. Yeah, since 2022.
Yes,
Yeah,
because that was when we recorded
exactly.
last
The
time.
first time, yeah, I had just started my company when we had first our, the podcast. That's true. So, and then I served also, this is something we might talk today, but I also served as an evaluator for the commission, which is very, very helpful in my job. So I invite everyone when you're working in European grant writing, if you have the possibility to serve as an expert evaluator for the commission, this is very, very useful and very nice to be on both sides of the table. And yeah, so now here I am passionate about EU funds. Although I don't know if I'm going to do that till the rest of my life, because this is
Then you're gonna die early.
exactly, I don't know. But this is what the purpose also of some of the talks today, to talk about what is it to be a grant writer. It's really extreme. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to cope until my retirement, but I love that. It's a really exciting job. So I'm happy to be here today and share my passion.
Yeah, I don't know, as an independent podcast writer, of course you need to love writing, but I think one of my other guests that's been on the show a couple of times, George Georg Melter-Bensui, he has been independent for many years and been very stressful for years, but now he reached a point where he is always invited into proposals as administrative coordinator, or doing, dissemination, communication, stuff like this. So he manages now to pick the ones he wants to join, and then he has a baseline of income from the project,
Yeah,
so he
exactly.
doesn't have to stress about the fees for
Yeah,
proposal.
exactly.
So that's maybe how you survive and don't die of a heart attack when you're 55.
Yeah, that's true.
EU
That's true.
EU funding related death.
Yeah, that's true. I'm still
Death by proposal.
yeah, no, but it can be risky, honestly. At some point, like, you have a lot of adrenaline, for deadlines, and like, you need to be careful at some point, and the lack of sleep as well. It's not that good. But I'm 40, so 41 soon. So then I still have some years before stopping. But yeah, it's extreme at some point.
Yeah. No, I have to avoid getting chatty. I feel like I can very easily get chatty, so I have to keep my nose in the track here, so we
Yeah.
so we make a nice episode now. Fly in. Well, first of all, Marie, you have a fantastic talent of writing, posting LinkedIn posts.
Yeah, thank you.
You are one of my favorites when it comes to this. I have a handful of favorites in my network that has the ability to have content, interesting angle, surprising approach, and humor in one post.
Yeah.
It is, and now after 3 years at myself working with this, I am even more impressed by your talent than I was when we recorded last time, because there I had just started to learn. Now, and it's also, and why I'm saying this, it's because this is the starting point of this conversation, right? So the title of this episode is "How to Fail a Proposal," and this is because this was a headline for one of your posts.
Yeah, best post.
So let's just start. So just in the fly-in, just can you motivate? Can tell it, just share the post. So because that's what we're going to. It's the post that we're departing in when we're continuing the conversation. But can you just share a little bit on that?
On that post? It's sure. It's I was really surprised actually when I saw the success the post had. It had like 550 likes and more, which is crazy. So it's because I remember when I wanted to post it, it was after the submission of it was beginning of February. So we had just submitted a proposal that we had managed to write in 1 month. It was just crazy. I was contacted by the client before Christmas, and the deadline was beginning of February. So it was a crazy January month where I was working during the weekends and stuff like that. And then when we finally submitted, I was like, well, I like after I submit some proposals, I like to think of what did I get from the experience, because with each proposal you get a new experience. There was a new mistake that you hadn't done before, or there is something new, and I like to think of how I could share that with my LinkedIn followers or with the community to give some knowledge to others, so that we don't make all the same mistakes. And then I don't know, like while thinking what I could post, I ended up like having this angle where you make reverse thinking. Instead of saying, okay, you should do that to really success, then I told myself that I could use the other angle, like what to do to fail spectacularly, like a pro, at video proposals, and then this like kind of survival guide with really stupid mistakes. Like it's not I'm not providing really deep, let's say, advice, like basic mistakes that we should not do. But I think it resonated in a lot of people, because those are mistakes that we keep seeing everywhere. When this one made a lot of people laugh when I talk about the title, like which is like 30 words. The title, whereas you should convey like something really simple, straightforward. With the title, like the people end up with 10 buzzwords in the title, and it doesn't mean anything anymore. And so this kind of
because it has to fit the acronym.
Exactly.
So you make the acronym, and then you have to find words that fit the acronym.
Exactly. And
wouldn't it be funny to have a title called Beatles? You have
That's true. I keep saying, okay, we don't care if the letters of the acronym don't fit or not at the beginning of the words, like we don't care basically. So just give an acronym and then make a real, a meaningful title, something that talks to the evaluator, not something that doesn't mean anything. So it's quite fun. But so I ended up trying to make a list of this small stuff that sounds like kind of obvious, honestly, but then this is something in the end we need to repeat every time, because this is something it's easy to fall into those traps. So then and this post, like really, a lot of people recognize themselves, even researchers and then grant writers. So they reacted really funny to the post.
Listen, Marie, first of all, dear listener, I'm going to put the link to the LinkedIn post in the episode notes. So most of you are sitting now and listening to this in a podcast host, I don't know, Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever. You have the episode notes. In that space, I will put the link to this LinkedIn post, and then you can go and click it while you listen now if you sit in the train. Of course, don't do it if you drive the car.
That's true.
It's also going to be problematic if you're running. But
you're in a good mood,
If you sit in a place where you don't have to do something where you can kill people if you don't concentrate, you can go and click into the thing. It's a fantastic. It's just a very, very nice. It's a very, very nice and funny LinkedIn post. It's thanks.
I'm Simona Costa from Tour for You, the association with Tasca University and Regione Toscana. Nils, thank you very much for this opportunity to be here, to meet people, to meet the bubble of this wonderful podcast, The Grant. Thank you.
Now so what we did in the pre-talk here, we said, okay, let's try to make some sections here and try to dissect the and dig into the meaning behind the comic part of this, to sort of because it's important what you write in the post. That's the point. It's both fun but also important. Okay, so first block here, I've labeled it the life of a proposal writer. And we also discussed this a little bit. So about what should this episode be about? Should it just be about the post? But we also discussed this, like how is it actually to write proposals and so on, and how is it to sit and being an independent proposal writer and so on and so forth. So it obviously it creates a lot of reflections that if you have a talent for sharing it with others, it comes out like this. Now, the life of a proposal writer. Okay, so I put here, so we have here in our rundown typical phases of proposal writing.
Typical phases.
You want to do you want to walk us through them?
Well, I guess that we might have different experiences depending on the consulting style. I don't know, but
you have the emotional journey. If you take that.
The happy, the happy phase when you sign the contract, because as a consultant, it won't be the same like if you're a grant writer at a university. You're not signing the contract, but then it's still I'm very happy to start a new collaboration with someone.
Exactly.
It's something like it's kind of a surprise, like, because you don't know how it's going to be, but you're very happy about starting the collaboration. But then you don't know if it's going to be a bad one or a good one.
You meet the partners for the first time once you're collaborating with you.
Exactly.
Try to make a joke here and there. It's going to be nice. The problems haven't started yet, right? So it's very nice.
Exactly. And then you start like with a lot of ambition, most of the time, and then it's never as the plan was supposed to be. So sometimes it might be, but most of the time, you're gonna face a lot of frustration or panic at some point, or a lot of inspiration as well, because then as a consultant as well, I'm not the only one, working on the proposal. You have the coordinator, you have the coordinators team as well, and then there's gonna be some really nice inspiration out of all of that. But the first phase, let's say, it's a very nice one. And then, it's depending on the calls. There are some calls where the consortium is really going to be engaged. In other calls, you're going to have the participation only from the coordinator. But you have this phase, like, where it's kind of static a little bit, because it depends. Like, if you start 1 month before, of course, it's going to be a sprint during 1 month. But if you start too early, like there is kind of this static phase where nothing happens. Well, some stuff happens.
Yeah, or when nobody has the sense of urgency.
Exactly.
So you engage, you agree on, and then you start to make your timeline.
Exactly.
You start to build up your, as a professional grants writer, you start to prepare all your systems.
Exactly.
You start to, parallel with that, you start to if it's a larger or it's a collaboration project, you start to help the partners finding the partners they would like to attach to the project. All this that's a lot of. This is a process of you start to be a little busy mouse or a little busy squirrel. You start to tick. You call a lot of people. You engage with a lot of people. You sit and make your little systems, your little plans, your little ticking list. What you need to do over the next 3-4 months and so on. And that you talk to a lot of people, and it's the first time. That if it's difficult to engage partners, of course you run into a. But let's just say that this is a proposal process where you get the partners on board after. So that's a period where you talk to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's it's busy. But then you start to have the first thing you go for next milestone. That's the first partner meeting.
Yeah.
Uh,
The next milestones would be to really start the writing, and this is where it gets complicated. So it's
Yeah, but first you have the common partner meeting where
yeah.
you have the idea development
Yeah, that's
depending on
true.
how far the idea
That's true.
is. You shape that. Maybe you have that's also between the enthusiastic and partner engagement. You at the same time develop
Yeah.
a nice thing together with the key partner.
Yeah, that's true.
What the point we're moving towards here, people, that's when you start to be tired.
Yeah.
And that comes
That's true.
that comes when you have been doing when you start to you have the concept, you agreed, and then you start to put people into working groups.
Yeah.
And then start the process where people don't reply to messages.
Yeah. They are supposed to
You
answer to work.
Nobody wants to take that bloody work package lead on work package 4 that binds everything together between work package 2,
That's
3, and
true.
4.
That's true.
Already now, one of the partners starts to talk about patterns.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's true.
and being a little bitchy about it.
Yeah. That's true. That's really true. That's a nice example, actually. Like they are not
This is partner
the
fatigue.
conversations goes everywhere and nowhere sometimes. Like between the partners, they are not at the same
Also,
level.
the partner starts to have proposal writer fatigue.
Yeah, it's true.
They starts to be annoyed with your emails.
Yeah.
They start to be a little little poisonous darts comes in your direction.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Isn't this your responsibility, or why are we supposed to do this?
Exactly. No, that's right. That's right. This is one actually very important point, and this is something I try to start at the beginning. What do I do, and what do you do? So that the frontier between the responsibilities of each is really clear. So that at the end you don't end up 2 days before the deadline. Oh, but you were supposed to do that. No, you were supposed to do that. So then it's very an important step, like so that everyone is aware of that, like what you should do, what I will write in the proposal. Yeah.
It's when if you're an inexperienced grants consultant.
Yeah.
Or if you're in the beginning of a career with this, and you don't make these clear agreements, then you start to come into trouble here.
Yeah. Oh, but that's true. But it's still happening sometimes, huh? Even after 15 years.
But sometimes. the thing is, Marie, it's because the people you work with, that was, even if it is not explicitly written down in an agreement or explicitly written, there was, when you started the conversation, an understanding that it was like this.
Yeah.
But when these people, because they're busy, they have other things to do in their professional life than serving input to a proposal that you sit with. So they start to become under pressure. They might become coming under pressure from their management.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why did we? What? No, who had this idea to join this? You spend all your time doing this. Then comes, because they don't have responsibility towards you. They have responsibility towards their manager.
Yeah.
And then comes then it starts to get sharp edges, the emails.
Yeah.
When they're under pressure and we get 2 weeks before deadline. We were of the understanding that
you are going to do that and blah blah blah. It's true. It's true. So there's no magic recipe to make that work sometimes, but it's important to try to get it cleared because of
So what else happens? Because this is the phase where writing gets intense.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have something specific to say on that aspect. Writing starts like with all the partners, and like if you have your retro planning with your to-do list, normally it should go, smoothly. I would say. At least if you're not in a hurry, everybody knows what they have to do. But you can't help, in any case, to have that, like, let's say 2 weeks before the deadline. 2 3 weeks, no, 3 weeks is too much to start to stress. 2 weeks, you're starting to stress. And then, yeah, you because, and I don't know with other colleagues how that works, but from my experience, even if you start 6 months before, or if you start 2 months before, you will all be at the same step, in the proposal phase,
Yeah,
2 weeks before the deadline. It's very strange. It's very funny.
You have these very, very weird creatures within the grants consultancy world that actually finishes their proposals 2 weeks before deadline.
Yeah, but that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know this.
But I've even had guests
I want to know them
in this show that would says, but I always submit my proposals 2 weeks before deadline.
No way. Really?
Yeah,
2 days
but they
before?
exist.
I agree. 2 days before. 2 weeks before? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Or it's an individual fund grant. I don't know. That's crazy.
No, but it's like this in every sector, Marie. You have the occasional crazy one that has a certain talent, or
Yeah, that's true.
you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
I'm not that kind.
that's nobody is of that kind except the one that confirms the rule.
Yeah.
The exception that confirms the rule. So exactly this, that no matter when you start, panic sets in.
Yeah, of course. So this and this is where this becomes fun. Well, not funny, but like one of the role I will have is to reassure, the team, and to let them know that we will manage to do everything on time. This is my role. I won't let them down, and we will manage to submit, even if we submit, I don't know, like 5 minutes before, which we should avoid. But this is part of the job. But then, there is like this, 2 weeks, I would say, where the pressure starts a lot, and then you see like all the things that you still have to do, and so I don't know how to explain that, but in some ways, I think this is, as I wouldn't do that job if I wouldn't like it, because this creates a lot of adrenaline, and this makes you. This makes you.
I don't know if it
No, but
I don't know if it's healthy adrenaline.
no, it's not. It's not. But I mean,
the kind of adrenaline that makes you throw up.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's like kind of really pushing you to be excellent, to be the best, because you need to be really efficient. You need to be at your best, to be able to manage those 2 weeks where everybody is going to be on panic, everybody is going to start to stress, to send you emails. We're not going to be able to do that and that, calling you, WhatsApping you, weekends, nights. So then you have to. I kind of like that. Because it pushes you at some point to. I fully agree that some people are not at ease with this kind of adrenaline and panic, and you want to anticipate a little bit more. But when you have a project where you have 10, 15 partners, honestly, from my experience, it's quite hard to be able to anticipate like 2 weeks before. It's crazy if you manage to do that. But
that's not.
And this is something we might talk also about, but it depends also a lot on the deadlines of the European Commission. This panic, because if it was like the deadlines were like not before vacation or after vacation, or I don't know, were nicely planned, maybe there would not be this no stress, because everybody's going to be away, nobody's going to answer because of the vacations and stuff like that.
You would still have the panic, but you wouldn't have that extra layer of not having any summer holiday.
Yeah, exactly.
Not spending time with your spouse and your kids.
Exactly. I do not have a social life before, during the two weeks before the deadline. I honestly, they know that. They don't call me. I don't go out, no concert, no nights out, no drinks after work. It's really like during 2 weeks before the deadline, I'm like focusing on the proposals, because most of the time it might happen that I don't have only one, might have 2 or 3, especially for example MSc So then I'm like, okay, don't talk to me anymore. So it's it can have some impact. But then vacation after, if you can.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Working for a big consultancy company, it was exactly this. You had several at the same time,
Yeah.
3, 4 proposals,
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you know, it was just expected that you submitted, and then right after, then we need to move on to the next.
To the next one. This is something, because yeah, exactly. And this is the privilege of being independent.
Yeah.
I can try to stop, when I know, for example, this year in February, I had like from September to February a lot of deadlines, and then in February I told myself, okay, you stop, like you take 1 month of holidays, and you don't start like new proposals or stuff like that, because then you can choose a little bit more the timing of your deadlines when you are freelance. So this is a bit of a privilege, because then it's true that in companies, normally you finish one and then you're like, the relief, and you have submitted everything, you're so happy, and then you want really, like, the pressure goes down, and there is this kind of feeling which is very interesting. But I guess it's in any job where you have like a lot of tension and pressure going on, and then out of a sudden everything drops, and you feel like you're useless in the world. You don't have anything to do anymore, and nobody is emailing you anymore. You don't have any calls, any WhatsApping, any meetings at 8 at night, and it feels really strange. It's really strange. Like you have this kind of depression, small depression, that it's over, and then you have to move to the next one. But there is this phase where you are a bit down, let's say, after.
I think this is related to if you like this or not.
Yeah,
because when it was over, I was like, I'd wish I would never have to do this again ever.
That's true.
Every single time I've been thinking, this is really not for me.
Yeah, no, but that's true.
But destiny had it that I had to do it in parts of my life to secure income for the family.
Yeah.
But I will do a lot in my life to avoid ever writing one single proposal.
I fully agree. Like you said, so this is but 15 years ago, I didn't know what I was going into, when I started the job. I was like, really? And now I'm like, wow, maybe I wouldn't have done that if I knew 15 years ago that I would miss some weekends. I would have some late night evenings, some vacations would be off because of the deadlines and stuff like that. I don't know. But well, it's still a passion job, I would say. But then it's true that it's really psychologically speaking, it's really a journey, like a roller coaster. Yeah. So I like to also say it like that. In extreme sports, something like you have a lot of comparison available, but it's quite extreme. We all know that in the field.
Yeah, but it was also, I've been having so many conversations since we talked last time.
Yeah.
And the knowledge and the understanding I have got now from this people working in this sector.
Yeah.
It tells me that there are so many people out there that are reliant on bad managers.
Okay.
People that have been or are, of course they don't say in the podcast if they don't like their current manager.
Yeah.
But the amount of managers who do not understand the
life of a proposal writer.
The life of a proposal writer,
agree.
but they manage the proposal writer.
Fully agree.
If on a bad day, it really makes me angry.
Yeah, no, I agree.
To think about how many people are managed by idiots.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That has absolutely no empathy
Yeah.
or
No, that's true.
empathetically understanding
Yeah.
of what it is,
Yeah.
what it takes,
Yeah.
everything out of you, how resource intensive
Yeah.
at so many levels it is to do this job.
Yeah, no, that's true. I was lucky in my she will recognize herself if she hear the podcast. But I was lucky in my first consulting company that when we had deadlines like that, we could have some days off. Like, it was not taken out of your holidays. Like
Yep.
you could have some days off after deadlines if you were working during the weekends. Like you could get Monday and Tuesday after or stuff like that. So there were some arrangements that were really possible when you were working at night. So it's a matter of person, like you say. So they need to have empathy and realize, but maybe they didn't do the job, the managers. I don't know. You need to have done the job to understand exactly what this is.
Exactly.
So, and yeah, it's a crazy one, but I fully agree. Yeah, that you can really, if you are, and in the end, so after 8 years of being an employee, yeah, I decided to go out a little bit. I would not complain about the management of the company for who I was working, but it's true that you get maybe more pressure if you are in a consulting company than when you are freelance. I don't know. And because I can manage myself regarding the deadlines, regarding the way I work, regarding the hours, and I can only complain about myself, if I'm doing something wrong. But then if you are in a consulting company, then you might be frustrated, for some stuff. And so it's a bit, can be a bit tricky. But yeah, it's an experience as well. Like I assume as well to it's really it's a good training to be in a consulting company as well. It's a good training. Have you worked in the public sector? Yes. Have you worked for universities or research centers before going to private?
No.
Never. Okay.
I never worked for university.
Okay.
I never worked in public
Okay.
or private research. It's one of the places I didn't. I haven't worked for the commission.
Okay.
And I haven't worked for university.
Okay.
I've worked many other places. Worked for the government, for
Okay.
cluster, for regional representation, for grants consultancy, and so on. So now I work for an association.
Yeah.
Also, so,
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I have many corners. Now, pushing this a little bit forward, the conversation. So what we're talking about here, it's managing mental health.
I'm not good at that. Yeah, I'm not good at that.
No,
So,
but it's, you know what? It is it has been the most tough mental periods in my professional career when I've been doing these things. When I've been having to handle 4 different proposals at the same time, a colleague going down with stress 2 weeks before submission,
that's true.
like email server going down for a week, 3 weeks before submission, stuff like this.
Yeah.
Things that not only do you have to deal with the stress of the situation, then also comes external factors. I remember I actually threw up once after finally a deadline.
Yeah.
It was a Green Deal deadline, the end of Horizon 2020,
exactly.
and I was
The
doing
crazy
3
ones.
proposals, huge one. I literally went out to throw up
Yeah, I could assume.
of exhaustion.
Yeah, no, for sure.
After that.
I really need after deadlines, because I'm really lacking sleep. I need to sleep like one day. I'm not exaggerating. Well, I'm not going to sleep 24 hours, but I feel my body is completely down. And I would go to bed, the deadline is at 5. I would go to bed at 6 and wake up, I don't know, at noon the day after. It's like really to sleep a whole day. So it's for your mental health and even your physical health. It's not really good as well.
No.
But I'm not good at finding and I'm not going to say I'm not good, but this is the way I've been working. This is my style of working. I know and seeing the competition that is going higher and higher, I have the impression I'm getting more and more perfectionist, like more and more trying to avoid any small mistakes. And then, so I'm the days before a deadline, I cannot go to sleep. I'm like thinking of the proposal is going into my mind, and I'm like turning and turning and turning all the proposals into my mind, and I prefer to be on my computer rather than in my bed. So, and it's crazy. I know some people I know around me, they are really good at putting boundaries, not letting.
Yeah, that's me.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's not me.
I go to bed and I sleep like a stone.
Great. I love that.
And then I get up and then I start to stress again.
Okay, no, but that's good. That's good. You avoid 8 hours of stress. But the boundaries are important. I know people, they can do that, like saying, okay, after 7, no matter what happens, I'm not going to go into the proposal again, or this is you manage, or I don't know. But the thing is that when you're paid for that as a consultant, I cannot help thinking that I have this kind of responsibility to because you're paid for that. So even if the coordinator did some mistake, or I did some mistake because I was late starting on some stuff, I don't know, whoever, we don't care about whose fault is it. Mm-hmm. But then, it's you have a responsibility to submit a proposal that should be in a state where in a quality where it can be funded, and so I don't know, I cannot put those boundaries. I cannot say, okay, at 7, like some days before the deadline. I tell you, most of the time, 2 weeks before the deadlines, it's starting to be really intense. And then I have this period where, it's I cannot put any boundaries anymore. So it's crazy. But some people, they do manage that. So big respect. But as a freelance, and especially since I don't have a boss, that is going to pay me whatever happens. So then if a client is not happy with my job, then I'm not going to get paid. Exactly, they're not coming back. So that's one of the drawbacks of being a freelance as well, because you need absolutely the clients to be happy with your job. You might not care that much when you are just an employee, but when you are a freelance, you want them to come back. You need them to come back. So then, you are going to push yourself a bit too much for that. And this is something, it's because we were talking about mental health, because you can find a balance when you put boundaries with also your, let's say, your social life. But then one point that is also important is that the people around you, they don't understand also what you're doing. My family don't understand what I'm doing. So when this is the summer and I'm saying, like, I cannot, because I have like two deadlines beginning of September, then they
possible.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like they don't understand, like the friends and family. So you're telling
Marie.
what are you doing? But it's one also, like, you have to be to explain to everyone that you're not going to be available, that it's very important, that it's your playing your life on the table, like every summer, every year. So it's but it's hard. But then I think that your mental health goes well, and you find a balance when you learn that the proposals have been funded. So this is I mean, like, everything is happy again, like, and you forget about the bad stuff that happened, the bad situation, the big tensions, when out of a sudden you get the results and you're like, wow, it has been funded. And then you're like, okay, let's start again, without, like, if nothing happened before. It's funny, because you have this big carrot at the end, and when you get it, okay, you're okay to start again for another 3 months just to get that carrot again. It's really this reward, of having been funded for your job and for all the what you've done. So it's a passion job, really. I tell you, if you're not into it, like, just find something else.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. The pressure for consultants working for companies has the KPIs. Personal KPIs. They sat on my head like this. How it was extremely stressful.
Yeah, that's true. It goes.
No. Last bullet here, and it's of course connected. This is one of my key discourses of, like, deadlines after holidays.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that a bit before, but yeah, they are. It's not only during summertime. I remember like 10 years ago. No, for Horizon 2020, it changed with Horizon Europe. But before, the MSCAD and deadlines were straight after Christmas holidays. That was bad. That was really bad. I remember one because one of my friends had a brilliant idea to get married in Sri Lanka for New Year's Eve. And then we were, all my group of friends, we went to Sri Lanka. So he married, I don't know, on the 3rd of January, 4th, after we had New Year's Eve over there. And the deadlines was on the 10th of January. And then, so all of my friends were visiting Sri Lanka, and I was stuck in a small house in the middle of nowhere in Sri Lanka, trying to get some connection and writing and stuff like that. And then, yes, submitting the proposal on the 10th of January. It was still the holidays, I think, at that time, because sometimes it starts late in France. But so it's crazy. I don't know. It's always the question that comes back to everyone. Why do they put those deadlines like that? I don't know. But sometimes I tell myself because they hope they were going to have less submissions, because people.
I'm gonna tell you why. Yeah. It's because it's very convenient for them to come back from their holiday, and then everything is ready.
Yeah, that's true. That's for sure.
It's so cynical.
I cannot blame them. I mean,
no,
but it's bad for us.
I've been recording a good handful of episodes on this topic.
Yeah.
And if you have, like the European Commission has a week of mental health. If you have these kind of initiatives, you're not doing this to thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah, that's true.
Across the whole continent.
Yeah, that's true.
And then claim that you, as a funding owner,
that's true,
is responsible towards the people that sit and work crazily to submit proposals for your deadlines.
That's true.
And then you say you care about their mental health because the struggle is real. It's single. I've been having them in the podcast. Single moms that hardly see their kids manage to struggle through Christmas. So like Easter.
Yeah.
You have certain deadlines right after Easter. So forget being with your family in those corners of Europe where it actually means something to go to church on Easter. It's a constant stress. Like, it's just, and then the summer.
Yeah.
So the deadline's in the beginning of September.
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
I'm not gonna have a vacation this year.
That's when people are supposed, like people across the within this research and innovation world, universities, companies with innovative companies, people like yourself.
Yeah.
Then when do they have to write these proposals? They have to write them during the holiday. And it's just,
that's true.
It's at least say it then. Yeah. Be honest. Well, it's most convenient for us. They because I've been talking to a lot of people through the podcast on this, and people that has been discussing it with commission officials, where they say, but you write the proposal anyways before you go. Like even a sort of a false ignorance. Of course, they know nobody writes the proposals before the summer holiday. It's just trying to have a shitty argument for why it's perfectly fine to have a deadline on the 3rd of December or 3rd of January, or leave me in peace.
Nobody. No, it's true. It ruins everything. Like this year, I have some deadlines, 2 deadlines on the 3rd of September and one of the 18th of September. And
it's not.
And then the one of the clients told me that he would love to have everything ready before the end of July, and I was like, how to say? I'm not sure it's going to be able, but
me too.
But then why not? So I'm gonna. So my July, my month of July is going to be like really completely under the water. We say in French, sous l'eau. But it's crazy because of course everybody's going to be in vacation in August, and the deadline is on the 3rd. So how do you manage that? It's But so I will on my side. I don't have children, so I can take vacation in September. So then Trust me, after the 18th of September, I will go
Makes
to
things
Ibiza.
easier.
Like for 1 week. But no, it's yeah. But yeah, it's part of the job. Again, I don't think we can manage that. I don't know if some people have tried to lobby, to the commission to try to make those changes, like to put them in October instead of September. Mid of October would be nice. Why do you put them beginning of September? It's but let's say that let's be hopeful for FP10.
What I know, I tell you what. The thing is, so you have these evaluations of the framework programs, right? Where people can, and of course, people they are mentioning these things, but of course, the commission are ignoring them.
Yeah.
Now you have this this association for grants consultants.
Yeah.
EAIC.
Exactly.
And they have started now to collect a survey on exactly this with the deadlines. And we've been discussing, because it's one of my discourses so I was actually discussing with one of my other guests, regulars, Rita Gilmata, to try to get the National Contact Point / Program Committee members on board to start a discussion in the program committees, because that's where the real power lies when it comes to the structure of the program.
That's true. Let's see.
But this is a spare time initiative, so when do you want me to do a professional campaign?
But it has an impact. Yeah, it's true. It has an impact the way you decide your holidays, and but I have the impression for the past 15 years, I have defined my holidays according to EU deadlines.
Of course, yeah.
So
of course, you have.
It's I'm like, okay, friends are asking me, okay, do you can you do that, or can you go on vacation? And then I'm checking the EU deadlines. I'm like, okay, no, this is not good. Here I can this month. This is crazy. But
no.
I'm starting to be okay with that. Maybe, I don't know. You don't complain anymore about this kind of stuff because you have the impression it's never going to change. So, what's the point in complaining?
Well, I'm still gonna do my.
You can. I encourage you.
Marie, we need to move on to the next block. If it's not supposed to be too long, it's very cozy. But let's move into the next block to actually talk about. So we're bridging from. Those are the conditions, because that's the square root of how to fail. Thanks for listening to this episode of The Grant. All the Grant episodes have their own site on the Grant website. You'll find the link to the episode site where you listen to your podcast. On the site for this episode, you'll find a link to Marie's LinkedIn site and a link to her company. Further, you'll find a link to my timeline series with a step-by-step guide to proposal writing. Next week, you will get the second part of this episode with Marie Bruteau, where we zoom in on how to utterly fail your proposal. You can look forward to that.